Good morning, everybody. Welcome back for installment of Scott Selections here for Wednesday, August 31st. For again today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. We had a pretty mediocre day, ended up splitting. Starting with the tennis play we gave out a couple of days ago, had a two-pick parlay in the U.S. Open. We had Medvedev to win in straight sets and Schwartzman money line, and that paid out a minus 112 on BetMGM. That ended up winning. Medvedev dominated one in straight sets, and then Schwartzman was down 2-0, but we did talk about Sock's fitness level and how it was definitely an issue, and Sock eventually ended up having to retire, and Schwartzman ended up winning. Once again, I stress the importance of shopping your actual lines and reading the house rules, because some books, I'm sure, ended up not paying you out for Schwartzman money line, but other books did. BetMGM was one of them, and we picked up a nice winner there. But we did pick up a loss in baseball yesterday with the Yankees team total under 5 at minus 133 on Caesars. We were daring the Yankees to actually show up offensively. They scored one run in the first, one run in the second, and then Donaldson hit a ground ball with 2 outs, bases loaded. Easily would have been out at first base. Terrible throw, terrible scoop, and 2 runs scored from the error. And then the Yankees ended up having a 3-run homer by Judge. So they scored 7 runs pretty early on, and they finished with 7. The error definitely hurt, though, and either way, picked up a loss there. So basically broke even. Look for a winning day here on Wednesday. And for today's play, today we're going to pivot and talk about the WNBA playoffs, looking at a matchup between the Sun and the Sky for game 2 of that series. And for this matchup, we like the total in this one. We like the under 163.5 at minus 110 on DraftKings. Time recording of 2 a.m. Eastern time. Couple reasons why I like the under in this matchup. First reason, looking at game 1, the total in game 1 was 165.5, and it landed 131. Game 1 went under by roughly 34 points, and now the total's dropped only 2 points leading up to game 2. I don't think it's dropped enough. And if you want to look at the current form of both defenses, they're playing arguably their best defense of the season. Connecticut has allowed less than 64 points in each of its last 2 games, while Chicago has allowed less than 73 points in each of its last 3 games. So both teams defensively have been incredible lately, and that really should not be a surprise because both teams were great in the regular season at defense. Connecticut ranked second in the league in defensive rating, while Chicago ranked 4th. So I do think both teams defensively should buckle down once again, and you should get another very tightly contested, very low scoring matchup. And as a result, I think 163.5 is a little bit too high. Plus, to go through the common, I'd say, saying in basketball, especially playoff basketball, different atmosphere. And it does seem like this total is based on the regular season meetings, which were pretty high scoring. But we saw in game 1, especially, both teams really kicked it up a notch defensively. The referees weren't calling as many touch fouls, and it did seem like Connecticut really dictated the pace. We know Chicago wants to get out and run. Connecticut definitely likes to play slower. And as a result, Connecticut ended up slowing the pace and won game 1. I do think you'll see a similar story here where Chicago will try to get out and run, and Connecticut will do whatever's possible to prevent that from happening. I see a lot of really long possessions in the half court, a relatively slow pace game. And I simply put, don't think that the total actually reflects that taking place in game 2. But to go through some trends here, the under is 5-1 in Chicago's last 6 games. So Chicago has been trending under recently based on some inflated totals based on regular season numbers. But at the end of the day, you're going to give me a 163.5 total where the first meeting landed 131 in the series. I think you could have a spot where Chicago could potentially score 85, and you still might win this total because there's no guarantee Connecticut's going to show up offensively either. But I do think you're going to end up seeing this game probably get into the 150s. I don't think you'll get 160s. I think one team tops probably gets to 80 points in this matchup. And with that being the case, I do think this number is a little bit too high. So play that once again here for Wednesday, August 31st. It's going to be on the Sky and Sun under 163.5 at minus 110 on DraftKings. Bye, everyone.